Start on this one. Right. So welcome back uh, to the sessions, Core Java sessions. We are in day 20. So far we have done with few concepts of Core Java, and now I'm going to start one of the important concept that is what collection framework in Java. Okay, collection framework. So it's definitely very important collection framework, because why it is very important. So before collection framework, or as a Java programmers, are we using any other technology or any other concept we are using? So this is the first question you need to understand. So directly collection framework coming into the picture? No, it's not like that. Before collection framework, we have some concept is there. So based on the drawbacks of those particular concepts, we are moving from that concept to like what collection framework itself. Right. Now tell me one point I would like to ask. For example, int x equals to 100. So that means what? We are storing 100 inside the variable x of integer type. Okay. So now I wanted to store two values, 100 and then 200 inside the x variable. Is it fine? Is it possible? It is not at all possible, right? So what we have to do? You have to like what declare one more variable, right? Into y equals to 200. For example, I wanted to store one more value of integer type, int z equals to 300. So like this, so three values you wanted to store. So that is the reason you are declaring three variables, isn't it, right? Three values you wanted to store, three variables you are declaring. For example, if my requirement is I wanted to store 10,000 or 1,000 values, how many variables we have to require? How many variables are required to store these 1,000 values? Obviously, we have to like what declare 1,000 variables. So to store 1,000 values, declaring 1,000 variables, okay, it is not at all a good programming practice. Is not a good programming practice. Why? Because if you do like that, which value is available in which variable? Okay, so it is always giving you kind of confusion. It is reducing the readability of the program. That is the reason. Okay, one concept coming into the picture. Obviously, you must have aware of that concept. That is what we call, arrays. What do you mean by arrays? Tell me. What do you mean by arrays? It's not an array. Okay, what do you mean by array? Using array, okay, using arrays, we can store multiple values, okay, but in a single variable itself. So in that way, we are able to like what improve the readability of the program just by declaring the array variable instead of declaring the normal variable. Okay, instead of declaring the normal variable, if you are declaring the array variable, we are able to like what store multiple values in a single variable. Okay, so if you are observing int x equals to, okay, for example, new, okay, or else if I am storing like 100, 200, 300. So see here, using x, we are able to like what store how many values? Tell me. Three values. More than one value using single variable we are able to store. This is the array declaration come initialization. In this way, we are able to like what declare. In this way, we are able to like what declare the array variable and then followed by initialization, assigning the values. So now tell me, whenever you are declaring like this, okay, for example, I wanted to access the 100. How can you access? Whether you are observing or not, for example, just wait. So you need to understand one more point here. Since, okay, this is an x variable, you are going to store the value something like this 100 and then 200 and then 300. Okay, so this 100 is going to store here and then 200 is going to store in this particular cell and 300 going to be stored in this particular node. I know if I wanted to like what access this 200, how can you access? Because of all these values are got stored inside the one variable only, that is x. Here you need to understand one point. While array values storing, while where exactly based on what the array values are going to be stored? Based on index. Okay, index value always starts from where? Zeroth location. So here it is available in the 0th location. This one is available in the first location. This is got stored in the second location. For example, now if I wanted to access this 200, how can you access? Tell me. By using index. How can you access x of 2 itself? So if I'm printing this x of 2, it will give you what 200 itself. If I'm giving x of, sorry, so since it got stored from 0th location in array index value, if I'm using x of 2, it is giving you 300. Okay, so only by using index only we are able to like what retrieve the array values itself. So here, and one more point you need to understand, what is the length of this array variable? Tell me, what is this length of the array variable? Length of the array variable I am asking. So length of the array variable is, here it is 3, sir. Who joined? Okay, length of the array variable is what, sir? 3 itself. Second. Length of the array variable is what? 3 itself. So how can you say? Because what exactly the length is referring? How many number of elements are available inside an array variable, that is representing length of the array itself. So in this way, you are going to like what declare the arrays, and then we can able to perform the different operations. So then it's fine. Then why what kind of drawbacks we have inside an arrays? It is very cool, right? So why people are moving from this arrays concept to like what collection framework in Java? So this is what you need to understand. So because I'll try to like what tell you few drawbacks. For example, here x of 0 is there, x of 1 is there, x of 2 is there. Now at runtime, I wanted to like what assign x of 3 equals to some other value, something like 400. Is it possible? It is not at all possible. Why? Because whenever you declare the variable, array variable, okay, based on the values which you are assigning, the size is fixed in nature. Array size is fixed in nature. Once you declare the variable with some particular memory size, those many memory locations only will be created. At runtime, you are not allowed to decrease the memory, you are not allowed to increase the memory. You can't shrink the memory itself, because of size is always fixed in nature. Array size is always fixed in nature. For example, you try to like what declare int, okay, x equals to new integer of, or else new integer of, for example, 5. You just create the object of array variable like this. Assume, okay, you created the array object like this. Okay, what do you mean by this 5? 5 is representing the length. That means 5 memory locations only will be created by the JVM. If 5 memory locations will be created, at runtime you want to like what store more than 5 values or 10 values. Is it possible? It is not at all possible. Why? Because array size is always fixed in nature. You can't increase the size, you can't decrease the size. At runtime, you are assigning only 3 values. What about remaining 2 memory locations? Simply those memory locations will become waste. So that is the first drawback of what, sir? Arrays. So what is the first drawback of arrays? Tell me. The size is fixed in nature. So that means you can't increase or decrease the memory at runtime. Okay, you can't increase or decrease the memory at runtime. This is the first drawback. And what is the second drawback? Like this, we do have so many are there, but I'm trying to like what tell you the few the important drawbacks. You just try to understand. This is the drawback, and one more drawback which I felt is something like arrays. Okay, arrays are not following, or else okay, one more drawback. Main important drawback is arrays. Using arrays here, I am trying to store only 100, 200, 300. If I am trying to store ABC or else Rama, is it possible, sir? It is not at all possible. Why? Because Anna, you already declared this array variable of integer type. How can you store the string type values, or else how can you store the boolean type values, or else how can you store the boolean values, double values? So how can you store the character values? It is not at all possible. Since you declare the variable by specifying the type, only you are allowed to store the same type of data inside that variable. You can't store heterogeneous data. So that is the reason. So using arrays, come on, please tell me. Using arrays, okay, we can store only homogeneous data. We can't store, come on, please. We can't store heterogeneous data. We can't store what, sir? Heterogeneous data. That is also the one of the major drawback of what, sir? Arrays. But in case of collection framework, you can store same type of object and different type of objects, anything based on your requirement. And moreover, using collections, you can increase the memory or you can decrease the memory, something like that. So whatever the drawbacks you are seeing with respect to arrays, all those are going to be eliminated while you are using the concept of collection framework, sir. And one more drawback is inside the arrays, whatever the operation you would like to perform, meaning that inside an arrays, come on please, inside arrays, okay, we don't have any ready-made methods. We don't have any ready-made methods. We have only, sorry, to perform any operation, come on please, to perform any operation, okay, to perform any, one second, ma, any operation, we have to do manually only. Any logic, for example, I wanted to add the data, or else I wanted to copy the data, I wanted to sort the data, I wanted to like what, check the data whether I wanted to check whether the data is available or not. I wanted to remove the data. For every kind of operation, programmer supposed to do manually only. He has to write the logic. She has to write the logic only. Then only operations are getting fulfilled. But in case of collections, to perform 90%, I mean max to max operations inside the collection framework, we have some ready-made methods are available. You just call that method, that's it. Your requirement will be fulfilled. You don't need to like what, write the manual logic. But in case of arrays, for every operation, you have to write the logic manually. That is also one of the drawback. And moreover, internally, come on please, internally arrays are not following, okay, standard data structures to perform these operations, standard data structures. Whereas collection framework internally following very good data structures. So that is the reason with respect to performance wise also collection framework is good. Okay, all these are the okay few drawbacks of what, sir, using arrays. That is the reason people are moving to like what, the collection framework. What are the major drawbacks? The first two. What is this first two? Tell me. Array size is fixed in nature. You can't increase the size or you can't decrease the size at runtime. And second one is what? Using arrays, you can store only homogeneous data. You can't store heterogeneous data. Different types of data, if you really would like to store using arrays, it is not at all possible. Of course, using object arrays, it is possible, but that is the different story. Okay, but that is the different story. You just try to like what, understand in this way. So now you got the idea why people are moving from arrays to like what, collections. So if I'm giving like collection framework as the definition, so how can you define this collection framework? Tell me. Collection framework is the, come on please, it is the standardized mechanism. It is the standardized mechanism of grouping similar type of data and different type of data into a single entity. Okay, so this process itself is what we call, or this mechanism itself is what we call, you know, collection framework. This process itself is what we call, you know, collection framework itself. So to do like this, or to perform the operations on top of these different heterogeneous objects, okay, collection framework, I mean Sun Microsystem people are giving some API. So much API is there. That entire API is they kept inside one package, that is what java.util package. So that is the reason, make sure while you are working on top of these collections, especially in the process of implementing the application, if you get a chance to like what, reuse this predefined things, make sure you have to import this java.util package. So majorly we are going to like what, discuss few interfaces, okay, few interfaces and a few implementation classes, few interfaces and a few implementation classes. So those things you need to understand. Those things you need to understand, sir. Okay, just wait. So few interfaces and few implementation classes you need to understand. Okay, so what are those few interfaces are there? What are those few implementation classes are there? How can you perform the operations using these interfaces and classes? So all these points you need to understand very clearly. So example, see, we have a collection is there, sir. First collection. Okay, second one is list. Third one is something like a okay queue. Okay, fourth one is something like a set. Okay, fifth one is sorted set. navigable set like this. So many are there. Okay, but these are the very frequently used interfaces inside the collection framework. And of course, if you consider like a okay map, okay, though that is also comes under two-dimensional collection framework. I'll tell you the two-dimensional collection framework later. Whatever the interfaces I defined, okay, these are belongs to like what one-dimensional collection framework. Yes, you may get a doubt, sir. What do you mean by these types of collection framework? Very simple, sir. In case of two-dimensional collection framework, we are organizing the data in the form of key comma value pair. But in case of one-dimensional collection framework, we are organizing the data either row or the column. That's it, single way. So I will show you the written view. I mean response view also of the one-dimensional collection framework, so that you will get it. Whatever the interfaces I am defining, all these are belongs to like what 1D collection framework, one-dimension collection framework. There we are just organizing the data either in the form of row or column. That's it. But in case of two-dimensional collection framework using map and then map.entry and all these sorted map and all these, there we are organizing the data in the form of key comma value pair. It is like a pair, student ID corresponding student name, zip code corresponding city, okay, something like that. So in that way also you are going to organize the data. So that time we are going to use those two-dimensional collection framework interfaces. Okay, so one by one we will see regarding this. First, our goal is to like what finish this. After that only we are going to discuss. But meanwhile, we do have like lot of concepts, miscellaneous concepts are coming into the picture. Those things also we'll try to explain. So for example, sir, here first let me try to like what discuss about what collection. So since we don't know about anything about collection, so just come to here. Okay, just come to here. Collection interface API in Java. In this way, try to like what habituate to see the API documentation always. Okay, whenever you get a chance to like what whenever you get a chance to like what use any predefined thing, you just observe open the documentation and then observe what exactly it is, what kind of methods are there, what kind of constructors are there. All these things as a Java developer we supposed to like what improve. We supposed to like what improve ourselves in this way to work with or to sustain as a Java full stack developer. Okay, let me open this collection, because why I'm telling, just like that blindly, if you are developing the code just by copy pasting, it won't you can't sustain more and more, and then it will not give you more, it will not at all give you the confidence at subject. So that is the reason, try to habituate to observe the original official documentation API. So by reading that, okay, you will get at least something. So if you are habituate, if you start to habituate, since you all are in the professional career in the beginning, so if you habituate like this, obviously for in some days, definitely you will get more knowledge. So there is a, I mean, we supposed to like what follow different approaches to become a good Java developer. So that is the reason, whatever the points I'm telling you, just try to like what follow. I'm not forcing you to like what follow my tips and my all these things blindly. You just try to like what analyze whether he's saying correct or not, and accordingly take your decision and then follow it. All right, sir. If you observe the whatever I said, so first of all, collection is the interface. Okay, so this is available inside the java.util package. Okay, and inside this you can read some information. See here, the root interface in the collection hierarchy, very, very important. So that means in the entire one-dimensional collection framework, for all the remaining interfaces, so this collection interface is the root interface. That means what, sir? That means if collection is the root interface, remaining interfaces are what, sir? Sub interfaces. That means what? List extends collection. I already told you, interface, in between interface to interface, easier relation. Easier relation means what? Extends. Okay, list extends collection. That means whatever the methods are available inside the collection, all those methods are available inside the list also, and list can maintain some other methods also. Okay, and the same manner, queue is also extending from the collection. Set is also extending from collection. And here you see sorted set. Sorted set means what, sir? Sorted set is extending from set. Set is extending from collection. Multi-level inheritance, sir. Multi-level inheritance. So in this way, collection interface is available as a root interface in the entire one-dimensional collection framework. So that is what exactly they also written here. A root interface in the collection hierarchy. Collection represents what, sir? Come on, can you please read out? Collection represents group of objects known as its elements. Some collections allow duplicate elements and others do not. Some are ordered and others unordered. So like this. And one more very important note points are here. The JDK does not provide any direct implementation of this interface. So what is the meaning, you know? Okay, usually if any interface is there, we are looking for always what? Implementation class. But you know, Sun Microsystem people only provided few implementation classes for all these interfaces except collection. Okay, for the collection interface, Sun Microsystem people are not providing. Okay, Sun Microsystem people are not providing any direct implementation classes, but for remaining interfaces, they provide the implementation class. For remaining interfaces, they are providing the implementation classes. Okay, so they are not providing the implementation for only collection interface, but still collection is acting as a root interface for all these interfaces. You may ask one question, sir, how can you say collection is the root interface? Just by reading the official documentation, how can you say it is the valid point? Yes, there is a reason, sir. So whatever the methods are there inside this collection, these methods are applicable for every collection inside the Java. So, and moreover, whatever the methods are there, okay, these are all the fundamental methods to perform some fundamental operations on top of these objects collections. What kind of fundamental methods? Sir, for example, I wanted to add the object, sir. So there is a add method. I wanted to clear all the objects, sir. Clear method. I wanted to remove the object, remove method. I wanted to check whether the object is empty or not, is empty method. So like this, to perform some fundamental operations like adding, deleting, updating, and all these things are available inside the, they kept all these fundamental methods inside the collection interface. And these methods are utilized in each and every collection. That is the reason they made this collection interface as the root interface. So I hope you got the clarity. So once again, come back to here. So when should you go for collection interface? This is the interview based question. So what is your answer? If we want to, come on please, already we have read this information from the official documentation. If we want to group, okay, similar objects and different objects, okay, as a single entity, then we should preferably, we should go for collection interface. We should go for what? A collection interface. So what is the important note point? Tell me, for collection, or else two note points I can write, sir. Two note points I can write. Collection is the root interface for all the remaining interfaces. Only you please consider one dimension. For the map, there is no relation in between two-dimensional collection framework interfaces and one-dimensional collection framework. Don't feel collection is the root interface for two-dimensional like map and then sorted map and all these things. So that is different and this is different. Try to like what understand in such a way. That is the reason I'm mentioning for all the remaining interfaces means what, sir? Only one-dimensional collection framework. That means whatever I mentioned here itself. These things only. Right, sir. So and one more note point is what? Okay, there is no direct implementation class for this collection interface. That is these two note points you need to understand, sir. Okay, so when should you go for what kind of methods you have, sir? So here add method is there, add all method is there. Okay, let me try to like what discuss about few methods, sir. So add all method. If you're observing, sir, add method. Why we are using add method, sir? To add an object, to the collection object. Okay, add all means what, sir? Add all means what, sir? Here it is expecting the collection object. That means, sir, instead of adding the individual object, I am trying to like what add the collection of objects to this collection of objects. So if you're not understanding, okay, you just observe here. For example, this is the collection object, sir. In this collection object, I can add 10 object, I can add 20 object, I can add 30 object like this. So, sir, I have one more collection object, small collection object is there, resume. In this collection object, sir, for example, in this collection object, I have 30 is there, 40 is there, 50 is there. Okay, like this collection of objects is there. So this collection of object, if you want to like what add to this existing collection, that is also possible, sir, by using what? Add all. Okay, instead of adding the individual objects like this, I can add some other object, some other collection of objects to this object. So that's the in that case we are going to like what use add all method. Remove same single object you can remove in the same all. If you want to like what remove the collection object, that is also possible. So all these methods are available inside this collection interface. You can once please try to like what cross check, remove method, remove all method, retain all, size method, to array method, iterator method, is empty, has hash code. So many methods are there. Based on the requirement, we are going to use these methods. It is not the site away. I can't show you like all these methods. Of course, by doing the programs, by doing the applications, you will get the chance to like what utilize these methods here and there. For sure, you will understand on the floor itself. It is not like that I'm trying to like what explain one example on the add method or add all method, something like that. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, based on the requirement, if you really understand how to work with this application, how to cross check what kind of method we have to use, then automatically on the floor you will understand all these things. Okay, now what I have to do is, so that is the reason this is all about what a collection interface. Now I'll go to like what list interface. What do you mean by list interface? Tell me. Okay, list is the predefined interface. Okay, available in java.util package. Okay, so purpose, what is the purpose? Tell me, when should you go for what list interface? Okay, if you really wanted to like what add both homogeneous objects and heterogeneous objects as a single entity, then preferably you can go for what list interface. That means what? It allows both homogeneous and heterogeneous objects. And you can add similar type of objects and as well as what, sir? Different type of objects also in a single collection object. That is it allows, list allows. And moreover, sir, insertion order is preserved, sir. Insertion order is what? Preserved. So meaning that in which order you are inserting, in the same order we are getting also. For example, I'm entering 10, 20, 30, 40 and I'm trying to access. In the same order it is giving you the output also. In which order you are adding, in the same order we are getting the output. That is the meaning of what? Insertion order is preserved. Okay, and moreover, duplicates are allowed. Duplicates are what, sir? Allowed. And you know, list interface is always working, okay, on top of or else based on what, sir? Indexes. Here also based on the index only the values are or the objects are going to be stored, sir. It is mainly working on what? Based on the index itself. Such kind of special methods are also available, sir. Such kind of special methods are also available. I will show you. Along with these collection methods, list interface is maintaining some separate methods. If you want to read, you can read it also, sir. An ordered collection. See here, sir. Java.util.interface. This is the list interface. And all super interfaces you see, collection is the super interface. That means in between list and then collection, what kind of relation is there? Parent-child relation. You see, the user of this interface has precise control over where in the list each element is inserted. The user can access elements by their integer index. Very, very important. How can you access these elements from the list interface? Based on the index. So based on the index only the values are going to be stored. Based on the index also we are able to like what? Retrieve the data. Such kind of methods are also there, sir. See here, sir. Add method. Directly it will be adding the element at the end of the location. But if I wanted to like what? Add the element in particular index position, then you can use this method. So this kind of method was not there in the collection interface. This method is available inside the list interface only. Collection interface, all the methods you can utilize from the list interface. But list is also maintaining some other methods. Child has more methods rather than parent, because of child contains all the properties of parent and as well as what? Child properties. So this kind of method was not there inside the collection interface. This method is available, okay, readily available inside the list interface. What is the purpose of using this method? With respect to index, you are able to insert. With respect to index, you are able to like what? Remove. So that is the reason index wise it will work. You know, when it comes to like what? List interface, it is mainly working on what, sir? It is mainly working on what, sir? List interface. It is mainly working on what, sir? Indexes. It is mainly working on what, sir? Indexes. 1 second, sir. So right. So I'm not listing all these things. You just try to like what, have a look on top of all these methods. But majorly what I wanted to convey here is based on the index you can insert, based on the index you can able to remove. All these things with respect to index you are able to like what? Perform the operations. That is what my conclusion with respect to collection, with respect to list collection itself. Okay, with respect to list collection itself. Now tell me, sir, for this list interface, okay, what are the implementation classes are available? And still do we have any other features are there? Yes, sir. Do we have Any other features? Yes, we have some other features also. It allows both homogeneous and heterogeneous. Insertion order is preserved. Duplicates are allowed, and null insertion is possible. Null values also you are able to insert. One important note point I forgot to explain you. What is that pointer? Collection supports only object data. Collection support only object data. Okay, that means what? If you wanted to add, okay, you can add only object. If you want to remove the object, you can remove only object. While you are adding, if you are trying to store primitive type of data, it won't support. Collection, whether it might be list, set, sorted set, take any other collection object, it is allowing only object type of data. Try to remember, and I'll show you practically also. You don't worry. Right, sir? Collection supports only object data. Keep that point in your mind. What kind of collection, whether it might be a list, whether it might be a set, whether it might be a sorted set, whether it might be a queue, it depends on the requirement. But all these are what? Collection objects only. How can you say these are all the collection objects? Because of all these are the predefined interfaces and sub interfaces of collection interface only, which are available inside the java.util package. Right, sir? If these are your requirements, sir, if these are your requirements, then we will go for what? Which interface, sir? List interface. If these are your if these are your requirements, go to list interface. Sir, yes, sir, these are my requirements. I went for list interface. Am I able to create the object for the list interface like this? Am I able to create the object of the list interface like this? It is not at all possible, sir. Why, sir? Because of list is an interface. For the interface, you can't instantiate, you can't create the object. But then how can you create the object? Whether you are observing or not, you just observe here. List is the interface. If you see all known implementing classes, what are the implementing classes? So many are there. Here I am telling you array list. Very good. Linked list. I'm not talking about some other implementations. Might be those are what abstract classes. I'm just taking only implementation, fully implementation classes only. Array list is there, linked list is there, stack is there, vector is there, role list is there. Like this, we do have some implementation classes are there. So now tell me, frequently used implementation classes for the list are array list, okay, linked list, array list, linked list. All these are the classes now. You have to follow the Hungarian notation or camel case notation. Every word first letter should be capital. These are not just like normal words. These are not an English words. These are something like technical. I mean technology wise interfaces and then classes. So you have to follow the naming convention. Since Java is case sensitive, if you are not following this, you will get the immediately compile time error saying that it was not found. Okay, so vector and then stack. Sir, you may ask one question, sir, why for one interface these many implementation classes they have given? One implementation class is enough, na? Why they are giving? Again, some other differences are there, sir. Some differentiations are there that I'll tell you. Okay, but now vector and stack, these implementation classes were given in the JDK initial versions, like JDK 1.0, something like that. Okay, but right now array list and linked list, these are the updated one. Vector and then stack are the legacy classes, outdated classes in that way. Okay, sir, if I open this vector or the stack, if I click on this vector, they mention any version name here? Which version? You see, sir, JDK 1.0 they have got introduced. Okay, for example, stack also. If I clicked on this stack, okay, where it is? Yeah, JDK 1.0, sir. Here also you can observe. In the same manner, if I open array list, I don't know in which version it got introduced. See here, 1.2 itself. Previously it was what, sir? 1.0. But later, okay, some other drawbacks are there with respect to these. Okay, then they are coming in the linked list and then vector, array list. They were introduced in the 1.2 versions. That is the reason. Of course, you may get very rare requirement. You may get very rare requirement to use. I'm not saying rare or something like frequent. Of course, when you get a requirement which satisfies vector and then stack, obviously we should use those implementation class. Okay, so there is no stop for that. Okay, it is all about what? as a API developers, they are providing some features based on the requirement. If you may use or you may not use, it's all about your wish. If it is required, then you can use for sure. If you're not using, the requirement will not be fulfilled. That is the reason, based on the requirement, you have a chance to like what, use those objects. Okay, that is the reason. Okay, my point is here, so that you can't create the object. Either you may create an object of array list, or either you may create an object of linked list, or you may create an object of, okay, array, vector, or stack. It depends on your requirement. So we can create the child class object and storing in the parent class reference variable. That is also fine. So in this way, we are able to like what, understand the, in this way, we are able to like what, understand the, okay, information, theoretical information. Sir, so whatever the properties you wrote down here, so whether it is practically it is possible or not. Yes, I wanted to show you. These are, I wanted to show you. Let me open my Eclipse, sir. Just taking some time, so that we can observe whether really it is allowing homogeneous and then heterogeneous, whether really insertion order is preserved or not, duplicates are allowing or not, null insertion is possible or not. All these points, sir, practically we can observe it and then we'll get the confirmation. All right, sir. Just wait, it is just taking some time. Won't take much time. It will open. Okay, let me close these. These are my previous stuff under SRC. I'm just trying to like what, create the package here. Just trying to create the package here. Let me new and then take the package form dot JSE dot exceptions. Sorry, collections, right? Or else CFW, collection framework. So let me try to like what, new under this package, take the class and define the test one. Okay, open this and here define the main method, sir. Come on, please, main method. Here I'm going to like what, create the object of list, sir. Create the object for the list. List L equal to new list. Immediately it is giving you the error, even though if you are importing from import. Okay, it is not importing now. Okay, if you keep the cursor here. Okay, 1 second. Control Shift O is for importing java.util.list. Make sure while you are importing properly, try to import the specify desired class. See, list is an interface available in some other packages also. But which interface, which list interface we need, the interface which is available inside the java.util. That only you try to import. Instead of importing this list, if you are importing this java.aw.list, it will behave like differently. So that is the reason. The one which you require, try to like what, import the same package interfaces. So immediately we are getting the error. Why we are getting the error, sir? Because it is cannot instantiate the type list, because of list is an interface. That is the reason you are going to create an object of first array list object. Control Shift O is for what, importing the Control Shift O is for what, importing the array list. Okay, so then the error is gone. Of course, some warning is there. That warning I will try to like what, discuss little later. So ultimately, we are able to create the object of list interface. It is not a list interface. It is not an object of list interface. It is pointing to which object? Tell me, array list object. Since we can't create an object for the list interface, so we are storing this. We are referring this object to the implementation class object. For the list interface, array list is one of the implementation class object. Right, sir. So now I wanted to add some data, sir. I wanted to add some data. 1 second, sir. All right, sir. List L equals to, by somehow we are able to create the object. Now I wanted to add the object. Which object you wanted to add? Now, sir, L dot add of new integer of, for example, 30. I'm adding. I told you already, collection allows only objects, object data itself. Why we are getting this? Okay. Okay, it is just deprecated, but still it's fine. The constructor integer of int has been deprecated since version 9 and marked for removal. But if there is any alternative, 1 second. Let me open integer class API. If I open docs.oracle.com, but that is not giving you any issue, sir. But still, I'm just trying to find out any alternative is there. To create an object, of integer, okay, directly they are giving like this. 1 second. Yeah, it was there. Constructs a newly allocated integer object that represents the specified int value. This is the same constructor only I'm using here. New integer. But it is giving you any static method we have. I think value of method. Let me cross check this value of method. Okay, fine. So using value of method, we are able to like what store the data. Add of object. Okay, that's fine. Integer, because value of method return type also what's a value of method return type also what integer object only. That means you are adding object data only. So in that way, try to understand. L dot add a integer dot value of something like 200 I'm passing. Okay, as I said, it allows what's a heterogeneous data. That is the reason I'm adding string object also. L dot add of new boolean of true I'm passing. So boolean object also you are trying to add. We are getting the error again for this boolean object. Okay, boolean dot I think value of okay, fine, true. So save it. So these are all the updated things. L dot add of again integer dot, come on please, integer dot value of 100 I'm passing. So sir, 100 already it was there, sir. Now I'm trying to pass one more time. I'm trying to add one more time. L dot, which method I'm using? Tell me. Add method. Sir, add method is available in which list interface or collection interface? It is available inside the collection interface, but that interface methods are available inside the list. That is the reason on top of this object, you are able to call the add method. All the parent interface methods are inherited to child interface methods. And from that child interface, it will go to the implementation class. And from that, using that object, you are able to invoke any kind of method is there inside the list interface or collection interface. Happily you can. Okay, it allows integer objects, string objects, boolean objects. That means it allows both homogeneous and heterogeneous. And one more thing is what? And it allows what? Duplicates are allowed. Already you are trying to add 100 for 2 times. Still it is fine. And I'm trying to like what add the null values also. Okay. So sir, you're just you just do this program. I mean, you just wrote this program. How can you say it is valid? So just show me, and then when you run this program, if I see the output, then only I can believe. Then only I can believe all this list interface allows both homogeneous and heterogeneous, and it allows duplicates are allowed, and the null insertion is possible. Insertion order is preserved. All these things I can believe when you run this program, and if I can see the output, then only I can believe. So what I'll do is system.out.println of L. Sir, right now this is my collection object. What is my collection object? Tell me. L is my collection object. So my L is my collection object. Inside my L, 100 is there, 200 is there, boolean object is there, again null object is there, again one more duplicate object is there. 5 objects you stored. So the collection object is what? L. So this entire collection object is what? It's a collection framework object. It is a group up of individual objects. I mean group up of similar type of objects and different type of objects as a single entity. That single entity is what we call collection object. And moreover, what are the properties? It allows heterogeneous and duplicates are allowed. Insertion order is preserved. Null insertion is possible. If I see the output, then you will understand. When I run this application, yeah, you see, I'm just Control C. Okay, here this is the one-dimensional collection framework output, sir. So always one-dimensional collection framework output you will get in the open square bracket and then close the square bracket. First you add 100, that is only coming. 200, that is only coming. Rama, true, 100. So 100 added how many times? Twice. That means duplicates are allowed or not allowed? Yes, it is allowed. Null insertion is also possible. So whatever the properties I told you, all these properties are got satisfied by using all these properties are satisfied by using this particular list interface or not? Absolutely yes. Okay, so in this way you need to like what understand. And moreover, at runtime, now I wanted to like what add some other values. Yes, you can add the values, sir. L dot add off, L dot add off. For example, I wanted to like what add the for example 300. I wanted to like what add. Save it, sir. If I'm adding, after adding, if I'm printing again one more time, when I'm trying to like what run, one second, sir. All right, sir. So now, if I'm adding now, if I run this application now, so if you just observe here, 100, 200, and let me copy this. Where exactly it is adding, that is what you need to understand and then observe. Where exactly this 300 got added? At the end of that location. Okay. So, but now my requirement is I wanted to add in the beginning, or else I wanted to add after the 200. Okay, so if this is your requirement, so I told you already, these collection values are also going to be stored based on the index only, especially list. If this is the case, okay, if this is the case, this index position is 0, this index position is 1. Now I wanted to store, okay, after this first location. So now how can you add? L dot add. See here, sir, you observe this index, into index and then object element. Now I am passing 1. I am passing 300 also. Again, one more time 300. Sorry, this 300 I supposed to pass integer dot value of 300. Let me save this because collection supports only objects. Collection supports only objects. That is the reason I am passing in the form of object, not like a primitive value. Hope you understand and then remember that point. Now, sir, system.out.println of L. Save it and then observe the output, sir. Okay. Now, after 100, since you mentioned 1, 0, 1. Okay. In the first location, already 200 was there. Since you are trying to store this 300 in the first location, after 100, 300 is going to be stored, and then 200. So in this way, in the specified, if your requirement is to add the elements at the specified index, that is also possible by using this overloaded add method, where the first parameter is representing the index position and the second parameter is representing the object which you wanted to add. In the same manner, we have a remove method is there. You can remove the object directly, or you can remove the object by passing the index also, it is fine. By passing the index also, it is fine. Sir, for example, sir, L dot remove of, okay, L dot remove of 1 I am passing, sir. Okay, sir, already 300 was there now. Okay, now system.out.println of L. Okay, now tell me, when I try to run this, you see, sir, 100, 200 was there again. So that means what? Existing 300 got removed. So if you observe this remove method return type is what? Object only, sir. Object only. So, sir, if you really wanted to like what remove, L dot remove, you can specify 1. So whatever the object got removed, that is only it is giving you the return value. So that is the reason when I'm trying to run this, it will give you 300. That means what? 300 got removed. So based on the index, am I able to like what remove this value or not, sir? Okay. So now ultimately after this removal, if I'm observing this output, what are there? If I'm observing this output, what are they? Tell me here, Control C, and then you need to understand all these points, sir. So 100, this is the data which we have right now. Sir, 100 is how many times it is available? In the 0th index it was there, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th index also 100 is there, sir. Now, sir, now L dot remove of 100 I am passing, sir. Sir, instead of passing the index value, now I am passing the directly object value only. So now which 100 will be removed? That is what you need to understand. System dot out dot or else system dot out dot println of L. Or else if you really wanted to understand that which 100 will be removed. Okay, let's see system dot out dot println of L. When I'm trying to run this, you just observe the output, sir. You just observe the output or getting what, sir? exception in thread main java.lang.index out of bound exception. Whatever the value you are passing, that can be considered as what, sir? 100 as the index. But right now, what is the maximum index right now? Maximum elements are how many? 3, 3, 6, 7. So if 7 is the length of the element, 6 is the maximum index. But whatever the value you are passing, that is going to be considering as what, sir? Index. So since the index was not there, we are going to like what get the index out of bounds exception. So if this is your case, one second, let me cross check here. If I'm taking this object as an 100, if I'm taking the 100, it is just considering as a index value. Okay, one second. Index out of bounds, index 100. It was, since it was not there, we are getting the error. Okay, with respect to in the form of object, if I'm passing, what is happening? You just observe. Yeah, you see, sir, instead of passing the value directly, if you are passing the value directly, it is considering as what, sir? It is considering as what? Index. Instead of that, for this remove method, if you are passing that parameter as an object format, then only it can be considered as what? Object data. Okay, now which 100 will be removed? Tell me. After previously. Okay, so see here, one second. 200 and then Rama, integer dot value of already 100 comma 200 is there. Now since you are passing 100, this 100 or this 100 will be removed. Okay, first 100 will be removed. So that means with respect to object, if you really wanted to remove, first occurrence of the object will be removed. What is that? Tell me. First occurrence of the object will be removed when you are applying the remove method by passing the exact object value. Okay, that is the first occurrence of the object will be removed. That is what you need to understand. So with this explanation, I'm explaining you how to add the object data. Okay, at the end or at the specified index, how to remove the objects by passing the exact object, or how to remove the object by passing the index value. All these things I hope you are understanding. Okay, not only this remove method. Now I wanted to like what find out the size or length. Size of the collection is how much? Tell me. Plus L dot size method, sir. How many elements are there right now? I think 6. What is this? 6 is the element size. 6 elements are there. That is the reason it is giving you size as the 6 itself. Okay, like this, so many methods are there. We can cross check it. L dot here clear method, contains method, so many are there. For example, get method I am trying to use. Okay, L dot get. Here, for example, get of based on the index, we are able to like what retrieve the based on the index, we are able to like what retrieve the exact corresponding object. For example, I wanted to like what retrieve the Rama. Since Rama is available in which index? Tell me. After this is the output only. Okay, control C, because we removed this first occurrence of the 100. Na? That is the reason. If this is the output. Okay, now L dot get of Rama I want 0, 1. So 0, 1. If I am passing this 1 as the index, system dot out dot println. And if I am printing directly, we can see the output only. Directly we can see the output. If I am cut this, control X, control V, save it, get off 1. Okay, we need to try to run it, and you are getting the Rama. So that means in the first index, okay, since Rama is available and it is coming as the output itself. Save it. Always one-dimensional collection framework output we are getting like this, sir. Okay, so that is what you need to understand. Since one index, one value is going to be stored, that is the reason the output is also without square brackets we are getting. Okay, so any other methods? L dot. And now, sir, if I'm printing system dot out dot println of L, if I'm running this, okay, now 200 Rama, this is the values are available. Okay, control V. See, this is the output. So now I wanted to add another collection object to this existing collection object. So because of, if this is your requirement, add all method we have to use. How can you use add all method? Very, very important, sir. Add all method. Add all method, you just observe here. First, we'll try to like what prepare one collection object. Any collection object. For example, list L1 equal to new array list. Okay, save it. List L1 equals to one more object I have created. So now L1 dot add of 500 Okay, L1 dot add of 400. Okay, L1 dot add of something like 600. So three values are there. Now entire my L1 contains how many values? Three values are available. So this entire collection I wanted to add to this existing L existing collection. So if that is your requirement, then how can you add? L dot, you should use what? Add method or add all method, because right now I'm not adding the individual object, I'm adding the collection object. So that is the reason I'm adding this add all method. Pass the L1, because of L1 contains 500, 400, 600. Okay, now after this, if I'm printing the original object, that is what L, you see the output. Okay, 200 Rama, 200 null, and again it got started. See here, 500, 400, 600. The entire collection got added at the last of the last or not, sir. In this way, we are able to like what use the add all method. In this way, we are able to like what use the add all method. Not add all method purpose is what? Tell me. To add the individual object or to add the collection object. That is what you need to understand. To add the collection object, we have to like what use the add all method. In the same manner, L dot remove all method is also there, sir. Remove all. Okay, remove all, you see, remove all, you can pass L1. So that means what, sir? In this way, you are able to like what? Observe the removal also. Instead of removing the individual objects based on the index or based on the object, I wanted to remove the collection of the object, then you can apply the same removal method itself. If I run this application, now we are getting only this 200 up to 300 only, that 500, 600, that 400 got removed itself. Because of your removing what? In a single shot, all those three objects got removed, because of that got stored as in the form of collection itself. In the form of collection only, I am able to like what remove also by using removal method. Okay, so here also I am passing this as you need to understand each and every method like this. When you are experimenting, when you are doing practice, you will get all these clarities, and moreover, you will get a chance to like what observe more how exactly it is behaving, all these methods. All right, sir. So now after this, any other methods are there, sir? L dot, for example, contains method I'm using. For example, if I'm using contains method, for example, say system.out.println of L dot contains of, for example, here, right now, this is the existing object. If I'm passing 500, 500 was not there, man. So if 500 was not there, contains method is giving you false. Isn't it right? For example, if I'm passing 200, 200 is there. That is the reason it is giving you true itself. So that means whatever the specified object you are passing, if that is there, it is giving you the true. If that is not there, it is giving you the false. Based on the value, Boolean value, we can understand, okay, this object is available or not available. In that way, it is helping. Okay, just to check whether this object is available in the collection or not, to check, we are going to use contains method. And any other methods are still is empty. Right now, my collection object is empty method. No, right? System.out.println of is empty method. No, sir, because it contains 6 elements are there. 6 elements are there. Since it is not an empty, it is giving you the false. To clear all these objects, we are going to use which method? Tell me. Clear method. After clearing all these methods, you are going to like what? Apply is empty method. Then this time it is giving you the true itself, because of you cleared. See here, you just observe true. Even though after clearing system.out.println of L, it is nothing. Okay, nothing is there. You removed everything by applying the clear method. That is the reason empty thing you are getting itself. I hope you understand the entire program. I hope you understand this entire program. Okay, so the point is here, these methods are not applicable only for what? Array list. These methods are applicable for all the implementation classes of list interface itself. That is what you need to understand. Okay, so let me copy this program here. Example, Control V, and assignment is do the same program. Okay, with respect to linked list. With respect to what, sir? Linked list. See, sir, whatever the objects I added so far, all these are objects I am adding to the array list object. So now I am asking, do the same program by creating the linked list object and then observe the output. If you are finding any differences, please let me know in the comment section, so that I can observe your comments, and then accordingly we'll continue the remaining implementation classes and all those. Okay, so far we have discussed about what? Collection interface, and after that list interface I have discussed. for the list interface, I told you array list as the implementation class. We have seen the program, and I'm asking the same program, rewrite the program with respect to linked list and observe the difference. And the stack and then array is also there, but those are what outdated itself. Okay, so I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you what kind of methods are there, since those were introduced in the legacy older versions. Very rare requirements we are getting. Based on the requirement, we can use those things, vector and then stack also. But those are also implementations for the list interface. That is what you need to understand. So once it is done, okay, then we will go for what? Set interface, and then followed by queue interface, sorted set, and all these things, day wise we will try to like discuss. That is all about my today's session. We'll continue, and not only whatever the methods I'm explaining, not only you don't stick with these methods only. Okay, whatever the methods I am explaining here, don't stick only with these methods. Try to like elaborate yourself, open the documentation, and if any other method is there, just try to like do one experiment. So what exactly it is giving, why this method and all these things. If you surf and if you practice, if you experiment, if you do experiment, then you will get the more clarity and then more knowledge on each and every method. So if you do like this, whenever you will get any kind of project requirement, it will become very easy for you to finish. So based on your project requirement, that is the reason I'm not stopping you to only stick with only these methods which I am explaining with in the program live session. You are very much open to like elaborate yourself and then continue to explore more methods, whatever are there inside those predefined interfaces and then implementation classes. Okay, so that is all about my today's session. So I hope you understood this session. If you like this, like it, and then share to your needy friends. Okay, try to, if you have any kind of queries, you just try to like post in the comment section. Thank you.